baseball coach. Josh Elander.
A new team, new coaches, and a new ballpark live outside of Lindsey Nelson Stadium. It's Torch Sports. Welcome to Torch Sports, where in just a couple hours, Josh Elander and the Baseballs will take the field to begin opening weekend. I'm Allie Campbell, joined by Patrick Fountain and Caden Martin. First, before we get into all things baseball, we have some breaking news on a critical case that will impact the rest of the Tennessee football season next year. Sending it over to the studio. Guys?
Thanks, Allie. That is right. We have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Joey Aguilar's court case deciding the fate of his future with Tennessee football will have a hearing today. It has already started. The current NCAA rules allow players to play 4 years of college football over 5 years, including non-NCAA member school years. Aguilar played 7 years in college football, but only played 3 seasons at NCAA member schools. Aguilar's party is attempting to use the Tennessee Trade Practices Act that essentially says students cannot be hindered by organizations like the NCAA. Aguilar's party argues that JUCO players like Aguilar are unfairly restricted compared to other categories of athletes who receive broader eligibility windows. Aguilar's party also argues that the NCAA counting his JUCO years kept him from making use of his financial opportunities from NIL deals. This case mirrors one that Diego Pavia was involved in last year. The result of that case, Pavia was given eligibility for the 2025-26 season. Joey Aguilar has 6 days remaining on his temporary injunction that prohibits the NCAA from taking any adverse actions against Aguilar. And right now, the judges are having differing opinions. Torch Sports will continue coverage as the case evolves. Now, moving on. Former Tennessee defensive lineman and first-round pick James Pierce Jr. has been arrested in Florida on 5 felony charges and a misdemeanor. The former Vol was charged with 2 felony counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated stalking, aggravated battery of a law enforcement officer, fleeing or eluding police with lights and sirens, and resisting an officer without violence. Pierce allegedly crashed his SUV into one being driven by former Lady Vol and WNBA player Rakia Jackson. Jackson told police that she and Pierce dated for about 3 years, but recently ended their relationship. Jackson told police that after Pierce attempted to open her car door at a red light, she sped away and started driving towards the Doral Police Department. Jackson said Pierce followed her and eventually connected with the rear of her vehicle. As she entered an intersection near the police station, Pierce cut her off with his car, and when she attempted to back up, he collided with her vehicle head on. Doral police officers responded to the scene, in which Pierce was standing outside his SUV on the driver's side. An officer pointed a gun at Pierce, and when he got back in his car, an officer attempted to open the door, in which Pierce shut it, locked it, and drove off. As Pierce drove off, he hit an officer's knee. Once the police caught up with him, Pierce attempted to flee on foot, and officers attempted to arrest him. He began resisting arrest by tensing his arms and not allowing officers to apprehend him. Pierce posted a bond of $20,500 on Sunday and was released from Turner Guilford Night Correctional Facility. Pierce was also ordered to stay away from Jackson. That's all for now. Stay tuned on our social media page for continuing coverage as this case develops. Allie?
For those that are living under a rock or maybe just not as in tune with Tennessee baseball, let's get you caught up on the biggest change of the offseason.
Accepted the manager position at the San Francisco Giants. I'm asking Josh Elander to be a candidate.
I love this place. I'm thankful to be here. We have real rooted relationships with the players in the building and their families. So, again, just another day up here is something that we don't take for granted, but also a continued sense of urgency. Like, this is still the SEC. Like, once those lights come back on, when we get the stadium done and the electricity locked back in, it's the SEC. So it's time to compete.
Well, now the lights come on tonight, and it is time to compete. In order to do that, Elander brings in Chuck Girolamo, the associate head coach from SEC rival, the Florida Gators. That's his longtime friend and former coach back in 2012 at TCU. Another big coaching change, pitching coach Frank Anderson leaves to join Vitello at the Giants, moving Josh Reynolds up to that role. Now, there's a lot of newness on the field as well. A bunch of new players, portal pickups. Patrick, who stands out to you the most that's joined this team in the offseason.
Yeah, I'm going to go after a guy that we got, or that Tennessee got in the portal, and it's going to be Henry Ford, the junior transfer from the University of Virginia. Now, he has got a bat on him, hit .362 last year and .336 as a freshman on a College World Series team, 11 home runs last year. I have no doubt that the offense will come. I need to see the fielding come. Last year, this Tennessee Vols team struggled a lot with errors and immature mistakes. Henry Ford's a versatile player. He can play in the outfield. He can play in the infield. Can he bring some of those defensive capabilities to really holster this defense?
I gotta say, there's so much talent coming in for this Tennessee team, but somebody I'm keeping an eye on is local boy Tyler Myatt, the transfer from local community college Walter State. Tyler was JUCO Player of the Year on a Senators team that went to the JUCO World Series and batted .484 for them as well. Not to mention, he broke the home run and the RBI record that was also previously hosted, I guess, by former Vol Alberto Osuna. If he can translate his success with his bat for the Vols, I mean, the kid will just be simply unstoppable at the plate.
Absolutely, lots to be excited about. Also, starting pitchers officially announced this Monday. After losing many of the starters from last season, Elander announced that sophomore Tegan Coons will be throwing out the first pitch tonight on Fridays. He is a sophomore at Tennessee. And then also we have Landon Mack on Saturday, a transfer from Rutgers, also a sophomore. On Sunday, we have senior UVA transfer Evan Blanco. Patrick, who stands out to you about this group?
Yeah, I hate to say it, I'm a little bit surprised at Tegan Cooch. You know, you want to look at the stats from last year, not the best. Also didn't pitch that many innings, only 36.2 innings pitched, 5.4 ERA with 10 starts. So he came in spots and was somewhat of a relief pitcher. There had to be some serious work he put in this offseason, some serious improvement for Josh Elander to believe in him that much. But if Tony Vitale believed in him that much last year, I have confidence that he'll really improve and he'll really be a bolster to this pitching rotation, especially as the Friday night ace.
I gotta say, I'm looking towards Sunday. Evan Blanco, yeah, he had a rough season with the Cavaliers last year, but if you look at his numbers from 2024, I mean, you can't really complain about how good they were. He was 3-8. No, he had a 3 ERA, and the kid just was unstoppable for a UVA team that went to the College World Series and was a big factor pitching-wise for them. If he can get back to 2024 form, he will be a very, very, very good starter for a Sunday game. That really sets the tone for the end of the series.
Our Lewis Maddox had the opportunity to sit down with voice of the base Vols, John Wilkerson, sending it over to Lewis for that.
John Wilkerson boasts one of the most familiar voices to each and every Volunteer fan. His experience and dedication to his craft and to Tennessee athletics is inspiring and unmatched.
I've been blessed. I've done more than 30 seasons of Tennessee football. I just did my 29th season last year as the scoreboard host for basketball, and this upcoming year will be my 36th with Tennessee baseball.
Wilkerson started his sports broadcasting career at the University of Tennessee, working alongside former voice of the Vols, Bob Kessling, and current voice of the Vols, Mike Keith. This when the base Vols went on their tremendous run with Todd Helton and R.A. Dickey in the 1990s.
It's really cool to have access as well as just a hand in what was a remarkable run for Tennessee baseball at that point in time.
John has been a mentor to many student broadcasters throughout his time covering all of the school's major programs. I got the chance to ask him what his best piece of advice was for anyone wanting to follow in his footsteps.
Take advantage of all the opportunities you have while you're on campus. You do have the opportunity to be in front of the camera. You have the opportunity to be behind it. You have the opportunity to write. And I would say that more than anything, with anything you want to do, make sure that you're buttoned up when it comes to the ability to write.
Most recently, Wilkerson got the opportunity to call Tennessee's first ever baseball national championship in 2024.
It was always about be where your cleats are. Tennessee went from winner go home to winner take all, and on June 24th, 2024, the stage was set.
We'll leave you today with another listen to that famous call. For Torch Sports, I'm Lewis Maddox.
The pitch. Swing and miss! That's the ball game! The Volunteers are the very best in college baseball, and the championship flag has been planted on Rocky Top.
Tennessee baseball comes with high expectations, but there's been speculation on what this group will look like with a new head coach and a bunch of new players. What do you guys expect this season to look like?
I mean, new team, but it's the same old Volunteers. You have a lot of freshmen stepping into really big roles, and you have a lot of transfers really acclimatizing themselves to this team. But I think if competitive, the Volunteers could absolutely compete with most, if not every single person in the country. And you need that mentality when you're playing schools like UCLA, LSU, and Texas. And having Josh Elander as your coach, a guy who not only the players but the fans can rally behind, he's exactly who you need in this position, and I think the Vols are in for a very successful season.
Yeah, Caden, definitely going to be a battle-tested group when it comes to the postseason, which is going to be very important. And I agree with you a little bit. I think Josh Elander has become a little bit underrated. I think people are taking the Tony Vitale departure a little bit too hard. Not that he wasn't a great coach, but a lot of the success of past years of this Tennessee Vols team has come from Elander, and there's going to be a lot of young players stepping into their sophomore years or their second years, starting at Adriel Antigua, Abernathy, Levi Clark, Manny Marin, stepping into a lot bigger roles after being young players last year.
Absolutely. Now, one player we didn't mention is Grayson Pope. Torch Sports had the opportunity to sit down with him and tell his incredible story with a documentary. Here's the first look at the trailer.
We kind of grew up being best friends, and that's not really normal for brother and sisters.
He's always been athletic, even at the age of 4. He's always got the game. He's always understood the game.
We ask kids and we ask parents, hey, are they an Excel guy? Pope, absolutely, no doubt.
Let me just say it the way it was first said to me. This kid Grayson's a freak athlete.
June 6th, 2023, I remember to this day, Mr. David, I hate to call you. There's been an accident at the golf course with Grayson, and it's pretty bad.
Push that leg down. Push, 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 push.
There's not many people in this world that, you know, if they went through what he went through, they would have a smile on his face every day like he does.
I learned more from Pope than Pope learns from me.
To this very day, Grayson's story is an absolute miracle.
Grayson Pope, how in the world are you sitting here today?
Welcome back to Torch Sports, ladies and gents. As you just saw, there is lots to look forward to in the new baseball season. But now, we welcome you inside the studio for some women's basketball talk. I'm Jeremy Knouff alongside Matayaus Phothirath, Lauryn Gempler, and Taylor Lankford. Knoxville is getting ready to host a big, important game this weekend against the Texas Longhorns. But first, it's time to go over an already emotional week for Kim Caldwell's squad. The Lady Vols recently suffered their worst loss in program history this past Sunday against the South Carolina Gamecocks, 93-50. And head coach Kim Caldwell had some choice words to say about the way her team performed on the court.
We just.
All right, we can't get that clip for you in just a moment, but she was going to be talking about how you cannot let yourself down, let your guard down anytime in the SEC, especially a program like here at the University of Tennessee.
We just had a lot of quit in us tonight, and that's been something that's been consistent with our team is we're not comfortable and things don't go our way, and I have a team that'll just quit on you, and you can't do that in big games. You can't do that anytime in the SEC, but you certainly can't do that at a program like this.
So yeah, I can explain that comment as much as I can, but you really got to hear it for herself. She's telling it straight up, and we'll get to more of those comments here in just a moment. But while we can simply show you or tell you about what has happened with the Lady Vols, it's easier for us to show you instead. So for that, we send it over to our play-by-play crew, Charlie Fernandez and Nick Rose. Guys, what's going on with the Lady Vols?
Yeah, Jeremy, Lady Vols suffered their worst defeat in program history on Sunday against the Gamecocks, and it was due to poor defense. Here, fast break for the Gamecocks. Z. Smitherman bites on the pump fake, just jumps straight into the offensive player, allows her to easy finish with the contact, and one can't do that.
That's happened way too much. Here we're going to see top of the keys driving. Going to dish it to her right into the paint. She's going to make a cut. Mia Paldo is going to be caught off guard, and she's going to lay it in. Momentum shifter for South Carolina.
And this might be some of the worst fast break defense I've seen in my entire life. Talia Cooper just goes straight into the chest of the offensive player, who then finishes with the contact for the foul and one.
Yep, here we got Tessa Johnson at the logo, one-on-one. I want you to go ahead and take a look. 1, 2, 3 Lady Vols, not even looking at what's going on with the ball. What is it? Tessa Johnson's going to drive right into the paint, and that is another momentum shifter for South Carolina. Well, the Lady Volunteers did get a win, dominant win over the Missouri Tigers last night. They will go on to play 2 ranked matchups this week, one of which against Texas at home. Jeremy, back to you.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you a little bit more in today's program. So, guys, a little bit to unpack from this here, of course, in terms of the product they put on the court, but mostly in terms of Caldwell's reaction to this stretch.
Well, you guys know what the old saying is. Taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse. If you're comfortable while doing it, you're probably doing it wrong. When you lose by 43, tension is bound to happen. The Lady Vols shot 28% from the field. They shot 23% from 3. Nothing she said was wrong. However, when you were in the public eye, you are the face of this team. You went and got this team. You recruited these ladies. You brought these ladies in. You transferred them in. You can't refer to them as they quit on me. They have to fix that. That is your responsibility. That is what you are supposed to do as head coach of the Lady Vols.
100% that is her job as head coach. But we've also all sat up here for 3 weeks now and said the team quit. The team quit. Happened against Mississippi State. Happened against UConn. We saw it against South Carolina. So I'm not shocked in the slightest that she said her team had a lot of quit. 100% agree. She's the coach. She needed to fix it. But you cannot teach effort. You cannot teach heart. If your team doesn't show up, then as a coach, your hands are kind of tied in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren, being a team, it isn't a one-way street. I mean, the coach is nothing without its players, and its players is nothing without its person leading the charge, and that's what Kim Caldwell is. And look, as a player, it is probably very disheartening to hear comments like that after such a great loss. But look, I don't believe that Caldwell's words were as malicious as people on social media were trying to entail, because look, Caldwell, she was able to take accountability from this Wednesday's presser, because she said it wasn't the losses themselves that was a problem. It was the manner in which they were losing. As you can see here, I mean, the second half, they were outscored 46-18, points in the paint. They were getting dominated. Of course, mentioned earlier, worst loss in school history. And of course, Taylor mentioned the shooting struggles as well. And look, this is still a top 25 team. They are still in a good position to reach their goals, as Caldwell said. And look, that optimism, despite all the negativity and the controversial words after South Carolina, I think it's respectable to hear from Caldwell, in my opinion.
100%, but I do have to agree with Dawn Staley. She said maybe Kim Caldwell should not have made those statements so public.
But look, it lit a fire under them.
It did.
And people could see that in their performance against Missouri last night.
Mm-hmm.
They played with so much heart, and I think those words definitely helped them.
For sure.
Yeah, so definitely some choice words from Kim Caldwell and her reaction to especially that game against South Carolina Gamecocks. But when times looked daunting, they were able to turn that ship around. The Lady Vols returned home last night and welcomed former head coach Kelly Harper and the Missouri Tigers. And the Lady Vols dominated this one from the get-go. With electric offensive performances and scoring 20-plus in all 4 quarters, Tennessee coasted past Mizzou 98-53. An emotional atmosphere as the crowd welcomed Harper back to Rocky Top, but Caldwell was able to keep her squad focused and composed throughout the entirety of the 40 minutes.
Yeah, she was. And it's like Matayaus was mentioning, I got to be there at the Wednesday press conference for Kim Caldwell, and let me tell y'all, I was terrified walking in there after her comments Sunday. But she actually was very calm. She took accountability for the loss on Sunday, and she said that she thought at that point they'd only had 1 practice. But she thought it really fueled her team, and they did flip a switch last night. Look at Janiah Barker, 22 points, 8 rebounds. She is someone who I have been saying, and I've told Taylor this multiple times, I needed to see her step up, and I felt like for the first time in SEC play last night, Janiah Barker showed up as a player and as a leader.
Real quick, Taylor.
Well, I will say, someone who didn't step up last night, but did have a big impact in the locker room, was Z Spearman. Kim made comments earlier in the week that she's the one who's really been fueling and stepping up the leader. Now, in the past, in their losses, she's kind of been the leading scorer. However, she has been taking a lot of the blame for herself, and it sounds like she's spreading it to her teammates and making sure that message gets across.
Yeah, this was a must-win game for the Lady Vols, especially considering they've lost 3 of their last 4 games previously.
And if you're Kim Caldwell, you want to beat Kelly Harper.
I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up, but there was no love lost for Kelly Harper last night. I mean, they completely dominated it. I mean, they shot 50.7% from the field. That's the first time they shot at least 50%, Tennessee, since January 8th versus Mississippi State. It's only the 4th time they shot at least 50% this season.
Yeah, they did not slow down in that game, and you would expect them to probably have some rest until the next game, but there is no time to rest. As the Lady Vols set their focus on another top 5 team, and guess what, guys? It is UT versus UT. The Texas Longhorns are coming to town for a primetime showdown on ABC. The Longhorns currently find themselves 4th in the SEC in average points per game with 86.9. And with this squad having just 2 losses on the year by 5 points or less, this is no gimme for the Lady Vols.
Yeah, Texas, they're an efficient team offensively. They shoot 50% from the field. That's the 5th best in the NCAA, but also they're very elite on the defensive end. They only allow 56 points per game from their opponents. That's 2nd best in the SEC, and they force about 23 turnovers per game. So the Lady Vols, they have to keep the ball secure.
All right, very quickly.
Well, I want to look at their resume. They lost a suffering loss last night against Vanderbilt, but they've also lost to South Carolina and LSU. 2 teams, though, that they have beat. The Lady Vols have 4 games this week. I think they get it done here in Rocky Top. I think it's horns down.
I'm going to disagree with you, only because we talked about this last week. The Lady Vols have not been consistent. They haven't been able to string wins together. I don't think they will string Missouri to Texas this week.
Regardless of what the sport is, whenever it is UT versus UT, the stakes are always going to be higher. So Texas should provide a big test for the Lady Vols this Sunday. Well, that is a wrap for Lady Vols basketball today, but we encourage you to stick around because when we come back, we will discuss the men's upcoming dark mode matchup against the LSU Tigers. But before we're going to do that, we're going to take a quick break, step aside, and let you catch up on these new Lindsey Nelson Stadium renovations, courtesy of Alexie Cowan.
Welcome to the new and improved Lindsey Nelson Stadium, almost ready for opening day after its $100 million renovation. The media toured the site on Wednesday, and here's some highlights. Everything in the park has been refurbished. Remodeled bathrooms, concessions, and a whole Vol shop has been added to the main entrance. Some new food options, 3 concession stands turned into walk-through markets, a Yeehaw brewing deck on the first baseline, and even a UT Creamery location coming soon. But one of the biggest additions to the park, the brand new level of luxury suites. The level consists of a lounge called the Clubhouse, a lot like the Riverside Club in the Food City Center, complete with 2 bars, seating areas, glass walls and windows to see all the action, and of course, the suites. Brand new kiosks used to order food with tap-to-pay technology. And from the suites are decks to watch the game both outside and inside as you please. Oh, and just a nice view all around. Let's play ball, Vols.
Continues here on Torch Sports, but now it is time to switch over to the men's side of things, as I is now joined by Jack Glennon and Jordan Smitherman, and fresh off a tour of the new improved Lindsey Nelson Stadium, it's the Alexie Cowan.
It's pretty out
here
there,
with
Jeremy.
us today. Oh, I can't wait to check it out for myself, and most of us here as well.
You checking it out tonight?
I hope so. I'll see
There
if
you
I can
go.
call out of work and go check it out.
Call out of work. Call out of work.
It is a must-win game coming up soon against the LSU Tigers. But first, it's time to note the journey that the Orange and White have been on this past week. It has certainly been a tale of 2 games this past weekend for the Vols, as last Saturday they marched into the Rupp Arena in hopes of getting revenge against the Kentucky Wildcats. That would not be the case, however, as the Vols had a 14-point lead slip away, falling victim to the Wildcats for a second time, final score 74-71. However, they did seem to find their footing this past Wednesday against the Mississippi State Bulldogs in Starkville. Jacoby Gillespie, Nate Amon, and J.P. Estrella made their presence known by scoring in the double digits and taking the Big Orange to a 73-64 defeat over the Bulldogs. So obviously, it's been an uphill battle, but that MSU win really came in handy.
Something I liked about that Mississippi State game is you saw multiple players scoring, not just Ament and Gillespie. It wasn't just their show this time. Gillespie with 18, Ament 16, Estrella 12, Okpara 6, Henderson 5, Boswell, Carey, Brown, Evans, all with 4. That's what you want to see. It's a team dynamic coming together. I think it looks a lot better than it did in Kentucky.
I love the way this team is rebounding. My old coach always told me you can't control if the ball goes down, but you can control the physical defense you play, and you can control how you rebound the ball. Would you believe me if I told you this Tennessee team in their last 6 games, 5 of which they've won, have out-rebounded their opponents by 15 rebounds per game, 250 total rebounds to 160. But my concern is they're still not winning by large margins. They only beat Georgia by 1 despite pulling down 22 offensive rebounds to Georgia's 7. And if you need 15 extra possessions to win by 1 point, you're fool's gold.
I was able to be at the Tuesday press conference with Steve McClain, and what he was talking about is they would get offensive rebounds, but tips also count as offensive rebounds. So they would go up, but they need to get better at go up and grabbing it. And one thing they did really well in the Mississippi State game was to get 15-second chance points, which really helps that offense and to get better chemistry and transition, and why they were able to take such a big lead in the game, even though it squandered a little.
Yes, this is a Tennessee team that has won 5 of their last 6 games now, and while it's not perfect by any means, they do seem to be on the right track as March approaches, don't you think?
I think so. And, can I talk about the Kentucky game for a second? I just want to say, I'm not necessarily mad at them, but I want to prove myself. I told you guys last week 2 things had to be done in the Kentucky game. And I said, number 1, you have to make Ament comfortable. Number 2, you have to lock down Oweh. And they did one of the 2. Nate Ament was comfortable.
He is comfortable, that's
but Oweh also was. And so I just wanted to say I was right.
Well, the Vols are certainly on a quest to be back at the top of the SEC. They're showing it on the court, and now it's time to show you how they're doing so with Charlie and Nick at the board. Guys, what do you have for us this time?
Yeah, well, thanks, Jeremy. As you mentioned, the Volunteers winning 5 of their last 6. Mississippi State game where they were really dominant. When why? Points in the paint. We're going to go ahead and take a look. It's going to be a screen set. The guy who's setting the screen is going to try to chase Boswell, and that's going to free up Estrella. Estrella's going to get the dunk. Easy 2 early in the game.
Yeah, Charlie, here on a fast break opportunity. Nate Ament fills the space perfectly. And look at Okpara and Estrella just sealing their guys off, clearing a path to the rim for Nate Ament to do that and finish with some emphasis.
44 points in the paint for the Volunteers. Going to have an inbound play. Bishop Boswell is going to set this up. It's going to be a screen by Gillespie that's going to free up Okpara. Okpara's going to get the inbound alley-oop.
Yeah, Charlie, here, long rebound. But look at this hustle from Bishop Boswell, sprinting out of bounds, saves it behind the back. And I want you to take a look. He notices, comes right back in bounds. Classic 2-on-1 fast break opportunity. Nate Ament slams it home. The Vols dominated points in paint in this one, Charlie, as you said. Didn't do that against Kentucky. They need to do that to continue to win these ball games. LSU is really bad at defending it, only allowing under 20 points in the paint 1 time all season. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, guys. Ladies and gents, it is almost time to activate dark mode as the LSU Tigers prepare to visit the Food City Center on Valentine's Day night. The 14-9 Tiger squad come in with some firepower, most notably guard Don Thomas Jr. and senior guard Max McKinnon, both averaging over 15 points per game. Their lineup also comprises of Marquel Sutton leading the team in rebounds and Pablo Tamba leading in assists. So, less than a month in the regular season until it really becomes the big tournament stretch in March. What are you guys expecting to see out of this game?
There is one way that LSU beats this Tennessee team this weekend, especially on Rocky Top, and that is if Tennessee sees this as a look-ahead game. There is no such thing in the SEC or in the NCAA, for that matter, as a look-ahead game. Tennessee, their defense has been fantastic all season. First in opponent points per game, first in opponent defensive rebounding per game, second in opponent three-point percentage, and LSU cannot shoot the ball. They shoot 32% from 3. This is a great matchup. Make them beat you from outside, and you will win, but you have to take your opponent seriously.
I just can't see any way that LSU goes home with a win. This is going to be a cakewalk for Tennessee because of so many reasons. Saturday night game, dark mode, Valentine's Day. These college kids aren't going out taking their girlfriends to dinner. They're going to the dark mode game. I would, but I mean, they want to go watch Tennessee. That's what I would do. And if LSU wants a chance at this, they don't. They're coming into the Food City Center defeated. They had so many tough matchups on the road, 2-9 in the SEC. They're tied with Oklahoma and South Carolina for the worst records in the SEC, and they just got beat by almost 30 at home by Arkansas.
Alexie, I wouldn't be so confident. This is a Tennessee team that's offense is so incredibly anemic. 12th in the SEC in points per game and shooting under 70% from the free throw line, and they are dead last in the SEC.
They were
in turnovers per game.
83% from the free throw line against Mississippi State.
One game.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, if you look at the SEC standings, Tennessee is at the top. They're only 2 games back on the current SEC top. So even though it seems like their performance has been underwhelming, they're at the top. And then if you look at LSU, they're almost at the bottom, dead last. So I completely agree with you, Jack. They have to play this game normally. Don't make it be an easier setback game. Continue to improve, let the post work, and let Nate Ament Cook continue to implement his physicality.
And focusing back on LSU, this is a team that needs a statement win for their season, as the Tigers have not been having things go their way. They've lost about 8 of their last 10 games, so they need to rely heavily on the scoring power such as Thomas Jr. and McKinnon, as well as step it up on the defensive side. Well, there is much to look forward to this weekend in Tennessee men's basketball, and we'll see if the Big Orange have what it takes to get their season back on track before the SEC tournament and March Madness. Before we leave, The Tennessee swim and dive team is hosting the SEC Championships right here in Knoxville at the Allen Jones Aquatic Center. The number 8 Vols team is a stacked lineup to say the least, but they'll have to brave their way past the 5th-ranked Florida Gators, 4th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, and 1st overall Texas Longhorns in order to win at home. The swim and dive championships are going to be all next week, so February 16th and 21st, we'll be bringing you continuing coverage throughout the event. That is all for Torch Sports for this episode today. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can stay up to date with all things Tennessee athletics by following Torch Sports on Instagram and TikTok at Torch Sports UTK and on X at Torch Sports_UTK. That's all we have for you today. We'll see you right back here, same time next week. For Jack Glennon, Alexie Cowan, Jordan Smitherman, and more, I'm Jeremy Knouff. Have an awesome weekend, Valentine's weekend, and that. We'll see you next time. That was Torch Sports.
Go watch some baseball.